Hello and welcome to another Betfred Sports video right here in the Quest Media Network studio. Peter, the Premier League returns this weekend, but of course non-league does continue and we've got some fantastic games coming up, so let's just do a little preview. So we've got FA Cup action at the Tameside Stadium as Curzon Ashton host Chesterfield in the fourth qualifying round. Steve Cunningham's side will be hoping to bounce back from last weekend's 2-0 defeat at Farsley Celtic in the National League North, while Chesterfield will be hoping to build on their 4-0 win at Southend United in the National League. The winner of the tie will receive a prize fund of £9,375. In the NPL Premier Division, Ashton United are in desperate need of 3 points and host Nantwich Town. Michael Clegg's side is second to bottom and were beaten 1-0 at Wayne Albion on Tuesday night. Hyde United made the trip to Betfred United following 3 consecutive defeats. The Tigers fell to a 3-1 defeat at Radcliffe on Tuesday. Stalybridge Celtic's 4-game winning run came to an end last weekend with a 3-0 defeat at Warrington Town. But Simon Howarth's side will be hoping to bounce back against Bamber Bridge at home on Saturday. However, they are coming up against the league's leading goal scorer in Ewan Bange, who's notched 10 times so far. In the NPL West, Mosley will be looking to maintain their fine form when they host Clitheroe at Seal Park. David Fish's side are third in the table, and the Lily-Whites have also progressed to the FA Trophy third qualifying round and will travel to local rivals Hyde United on Saturday the 30th of October. So lots to look forward to, Peter. The big one this weekend, of course, at the Tameside Stadium, Curzon Ashton v Chesterfield FA Cup. What do you think the odds are looking like for Curzon to go on and win the trophy?
Well, I reckon Betfred would offer 10,000 to 1 for Curzon to win the FA Cup. I mean, what a sensational story that would be. Not going to happen, of course, but there you go. That's the way we see it there. But that is the key game from all those matches you've told me, you've displayed there. Yeah,
absolutely. And the good thing about the FA Cup in these early stages is that you see players who play part-time, like, say, plumbers, personal trainers, joiners and stuff like that. It really does bring out the reality of nitty-gritty football, doesn't it?
It does, and it makes you realise there's a lot of talent there amongst non-league players. People who've perhaps not been as committed when they were younger, or they didn't have the parents taking them to all the matches for the academy football, and therefore they've gone into kind of proper jobs like teachers and policemen and whatnot, and lawyers, and yet they're still able to play football at this high level and pick up an half-decent wage as well. So they're basically doing 2 jobs. It could lead to a career back in the professional game, which ultimately I would suspect most of them really won't.
Yep, it's happened to a fair few players over the years. I mean, Curzon Ashton had Adam Morgan on their books for quite a while, the former Liverpool youngster. It was against AFC in Wimbledon, actually. I think it was 2016 in the second round on BT Sport. He scored that hat-trick, but then, they went and threw it away. They got beat 4-3, but that put his name on the back pages, and I don't know where he's at the moment, but for a period, he did rise up the pyramid again.
Yeah, and most non-league clubs, when they do sell a player, in my day, it was Steve Wigley was the big name. Right. Who made it from Curzon Ashton to Nottingham Forest, actually. But they do have these clauses so that they get money as they're progressing in their career. A bit like teams in the lower reaches of the EFL do when they sell to Premier League teams.
Yep. Very quickly, do you think the FA Cup's been devalued by the Premier League clubs? Because for the most part, they do field weakened sides until, say, the semi-final or the final. Do you think they're showing it a little bit of disrespect?
Well, I do think that the Premier League clubs want to realise that it's what the fans want, not what they want, not what the owners want, it's what their fans want. And the fans love the FA Cup, simple as that. They love a day out at Wembley. And don't get me going about the European Super League again, but that was doomed to failure because they did not have their fans on board, and you need the fans on board, and they love the FA Cup. And the quicker these owners from abroad realise that, the quicker they'll get a better affinity with the support that pay their wages effectively.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Well, Leicester City are the reigning champions. They'll be looking to defend their title. But this weekend, it is the Premier League. Leicester City taking on Manchester United at the King Power Stadium. Peter, the Premier League's back. Can't wait for this one. What are the odds looking like?
Well, Betfred have Leicester 13-5, United 11-10, a draw 11-4. I suspect a draw there, to be honest. Ronaldo, who's back from scoring his 10th hat-trick for Portugal against Luxembourg.
Madness.
He's 10-3 to score the first goal. Bruno is 11-2 to score first. Let's hope they don't argue about penalties. And then I think Marcus Rashford will be back in the frame. He's 2-1 to score any time. And should he start, which is unlikely, I suspect, I think he'll probably be on the bench. But if he does start, he's 13-2 to score first. And then Jamie Vardy did come from non-league.
He did, yeah.
He's 5-1 to score first for the home team, Leicester.
How could we forget about Jamie Vardy, of course? Made his name at Stocksbridge Park Steels, then went on to Fleetwood Town, then to Leicester City, and you just look at his rise. I think, are they bringing out a documentary on him or some kind of, what do you call it, a film?
A Netflix programme.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, they have. They've been doing that all last season. And then they presumably thought that the FA Cup would be the pinnacle of it, so maybe that'll be the last sort of chapter on the Netflix series. But his rise has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, he just had electric pace from the word go, and that just proves how much pace matters in football at all levels.
Yeah, without doubt, one of the best strikers in Premier League history. Now, the other fixture on Saturday comes at the Etihad Stadium, another 3 p.m. kick-off. It's Manchester City taking on Burnley. Peter, you've got to think that Manchester City are going to walk all over them.
Well, there's been a lot of betting on the scoreline. City, who do play very well when they come back from the international break, because all the players are out to prove themselves, to get themselves back in Pep Guardiola's good books. And I noticed that Raheem Sterling has now said that he doesn't get more starts than maybe he wanted to move on. So it'll be interesting to see whether he does start with him. I mean, he's gone public with his disquiet, shall we say.
Yeah.
Anyway, City 4-0 is 15-2 at Betfred. 5-0 is 12-1. City odds on, as you'd imagine, 1-8 to beat Burnley. Burnley 28-1. Draw 9-1. And then for the first goal scorer, with the City not having a centre forward effectively, and playing false number 9s whenever they play, Foden, Jesus, Sterling are all 4-1 to score first. De Bruyne 9-2, and Grealish, who must have been mighty cheesed off when he played for England against Hungary on Tuesday for being withdrawn. He's 5-1 to score first. The Premier League title odds, City are now odds on 10-11. Chelsea 5-2 with Betfred, and Liverpool 4-1. United drifted out to 16-1. Phenomenal form away, but not so good at Old Trafford.
No.
Relegation odds, Betfred have Newcastle in that key game on Sunday under the new ownership against Tottenham. They're 2-1 to be relegated. Third favourites for relegation at the moment. We have to watch this space to see what they do in January in the transfer window.
Yeah.
Palace 11-4, Southampton 7-2, and the favourite for relegation, naturally enough, Norwich at 1-5, Watford 4-6.
Brilliant stuff. Like I said then, Manchester City hosting Burnley at the Etihad Stadium, 3 p.m. kick-off. Burnley already in the thick of a relegation battle, but so are Watford. However, Peter, they've recently appointed Claudio Ranieri, of course, formerly of Leicester City, took them to that famous title-winning season just a few seasons ago, actually. Do you think he'll turn it around for them? They're playing Liverpool this weekend.
Well, I'm not so sure whether he will, but he'll probably do better than the previous manager. He does have a great relationship with the supporters in Leicester, having pulled off that sensational title, and he does know the players better than the previous manager. So basically what I want to say is he can't do any worse.
Yeah, well there you go then, nice and simple. So the odds for this game, Watford are 17-2, the draw is 9-2, and Liverpool of course wanting to reclaim the Premier League title, they are 4-11. So England took on Hungary in the World Cup qualifier earlier this week. It ended 1-1. Peter, very disappointing result, but you know, you've got to think about it, and England pretty much go into the World Cup anyway, aren't they?
Yeah, I think the manager, Southgate, had it in mind to experiment because he's virtually qualified anyway. And he did try all the forward-thinking midfielders, and it frankly didn't work. It was like a basketball match going from one end to the other. And England missed out and only drew at Wembley. Again, it was troubled again by crowd problems.
Yeah.
But that 1-1 could prove crucial in that they only need one more victory now and they'll be through. Very disappointing for Grealish. He missed out. He came off looked very angry. But he wasn't cutting the mustard and he wasn't scoring the goals that England needed. Although I did think he was unlucky because I thought he was most likely to be creative and create a chance for England.
I think it's good that he's showing his frustration. It shows he wants to play, even in what a lot of top-class players will consider a bit of a meaningless game, especially when you can get injured. So for him to show his frustration shows that he wants to prove himself.
Well, he missed out in the Euros, didn't he? He didn't play as much as people expected. So he knows the competition is absolutely fierce in those midfield areas for England. With Foden and Mount, Henderson and Declan Rice, of course, all looking for those jobs. I know they're all different, defensive and forward thinking, but and Sterling can play in those positions as well, wide on the left or the right. So he must realise the competition is fierce, and that would be an opportunity to go and bag an hat-trick, frankly, against Hungary, but he didn't. So that's what's upsetting. We've got Betfred have the World Cup odds. Despite England's hiccup there, they're still 7-1, third favourites to win the World Cup. Betfred have France and Brazil, both the favourites, 11-2. France won the Nations League at the weekend. Spain 9-1. Italy, Belgium, Germany, both all 10-1. Argentina 12-1. Netherlands and Portugal 16-1.
Brilliant stuff. Well, Jack Grealish back in action for Manchester City this weekend. He's got magic feet on the football pitch. But Peter, something a bit different now because celebrities from across the UK are trying to develop their magic feet on the dance floor. It's Strictly Come Dancing. However, Robert Webb has quit the show due to health conditions, and former rugby player Hugo Monnier has pulled out of this week's show because of back problems. So it's already going through a few problems, but we do have the odds for the winner right now. What do you make of the show so far?
It's not really my beef this. I'm out a lot on Saturdays as it happens, but I know the wife likes it and she thinks it's fantastic, and it's going well, isn't it? It's a very popular programme. I like hearing the comments of the judges when I do watch it.
Yeah, I don't think I'd fare too well on the dance floor. On the Betfred Sports Talk, we always talk about big winners at Betfred, and this week is no different because apparently someone has won £81,000 from a £20 bet. Peter, tell us a bit about this.
Well, this is a guy in London who I've yet to track down, but basically he 32-year-old, lives in London, and he went for Chelsea to win the Champions League, Norwich to win the Championship, Hull to win League One, Cheltenham to win League Two, and the reason it's come out now is because it's been a live bet, because we were waiting on France to win the National League, and they did so. They beat Spain, and they had £20 on it, and he's won 81,600. So I'll work out the odds for that, but it's going to be phenomenal.
Well, thanks for watching this week's show, and if you do want to have a flutter on any of the fixtures this weekend in the Premier League or elsewhere, Betfred stores are now open, but you can also bet online and via their app.